What's up, everybody? This is Sparrow with a Gun, back with another episode of How to Train Your Turtle. When we left off, we were in the middle of the BeeDabase, as I have dubbed it, script for the turtle here. Which actually, I know I named him, but what's his name? Oh, Beelizer. How original. Okay, so when we left off, we had covered most of how the database assigning part works and everything, and we were about to get into the mechanics of saving and loading and all that good stuff. So first, we got a send database function. This is fairly straightforward. I know we've covered some RedNet stuff before, so it's not that difficult. The only part is how the data part works, because you can't send a table directly through the send command because of the way that it works. Send looks for a string. So what you do is you create a blank string at the top, local string, and then I open the RedNet modem on the right, right side of the turtle. Now we've got string equals text utils, which is short for text utilities, dot serialize BeeDabase, right? This part is kind of confusing to me because it might just be me. It might make perfect sense to somebody else, but for me, serialize sounds like it would make it like more how a table would work, like indexes and values, like serialize it to where you have the same formatting stuff all over. But that part, essentially, it doesn't really matter what you would think it is. Serialize takes a table which you put between as an argument and returns it to a string. Like, it'll take everything, and you can't do str bracket valiant b close bracket equals whatever. It won't work. It's not a table anymore. It's just a string. You could pull a character, a single character, or print the string, whatever, but the table utilities of it will no longer work. It's a pure string like this. It just turns into a string, all of it. The brackets just become brackets in a sentence type of thing. So regardless of how you think it should work, because I personally think it's backwards, but serialize converts a table to a string. That's all we really need to remember. And then RedNet send, and as we recall, I have the receive PC ID number up at the top, and then it sends string. So this is going to send it to the B computer in my storage room, and then it closes the RedNet modem. I am planning on possibly altering this slightly. I'm not sure. That there may be an issue with the way the computer's receiving it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll have to work with it, but we'll see. And so the next thing is saving. Now this is very important, because what it's basically doing is, in order so that whenever you shut the server down, log out, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. The other thing is, when this script actually ends, if I were to hold Control T and terminate this analyze script while it's running, the BDB file that we sent over here will become blank, because this is a local variable in this script. It is not a file on the computer. So the save part is important, because it basically takes a copy of the variable here and saves it to the actual file, which is why, if you look, you have the BDB file here and not BDB like we saw in the actual script. It's spelled out because this is a file now. So this keeps a running tally, basically. It keeps saving it to a physical file on the computer or on the turtle, so that if the turtle has to reset, chunk unloading, whatever, the system doesn't shut down, basically, or you don't lose all of your data, is the thing. It's a little complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. We declare a function here with two arguments, table and name. Local file is a variable, and then it uses the FS API, which you can look that up on the Computercraft wiki. It's basically for files. It's like file system. is I think what it stands for, and it lets you, again, open and close and make new actual files that can be edited somewhere else. So fs open, it opens a new file, and then it tells you toString, or I have toString name, so whatever name you specified, it converts it to a string, and then it sets it to the write state, so I can write into it. It's not a read-only. And what this is basically doing, this line here is almost the equivalent of me typing, if this wasn't in here already, it'd be the equivalent of me going edit BeeDabase without this here to create a new file, and then when you add something to it, it's going to save it as a new file type of thing. And then again, write, so it's going to write something in that new file. So file is now the variable that links to this this actual file, so it's now linked to the BeeDB file. So now file.write, again, text util serialize, so you're turning this into a string, which again, in a script here in one of these files, everything is a string, and then the computer changes it out from a string later. But in terms of when you're writing it in and you edit something and then tell it to save and all that stuff, that's all considered a string at the moment. So we serialize the table to convert it to a string and write that to the file, and then we close the file, which is equivalent of like save, close, all that stuff. So that will keep all of the stuff that was in the table, which again is the argument, so you specify it. It will take anything that was in that and place it in the file and then save it, essentially. And then load, you specify a name, and this is going to open a file, which same thing really, fs open to string name. The difference is it opens it in read mode. So instead of being able to write, now you have read commands and functions. And then you declare another variable called data. I mean, you can name it whatever you want, but that's what I used. And then equals file.readAll. So it's going to read everything in this file and put it in this data, which as we know is a string now. And then it's going to close the file, so the file is no longer active, and then we return, again, the text utils unserialize, and then you put data in there. Now what this is going to do is actually convert it back to a table. So if you were to do, well, and I'll show you in a minute how that works, and what the point of that is. So we've got a while loop, while true do, fairly typical. It checks the if B thing. If you remember up at the top, it returns true if it's a B, and it already has analyzed everything if it is. So if B equals true, then it selects the first turtle slot, in case it hadn't already. And then, as you can see here, BDB equals load the BeeDabase, right? So again, it returns a table. It converts the string back to a table and returns it here. And because this is a table, it'll take the data correctly. And then if BeeDabase is not equal to nil. Oh, okay. This line fixed a lot of problems that I had actually, because one of the problems was if I erased this file and tried to run this script, it would load this, but nothing would happen because there's nothing in the data up here because it's an empty file, or it didn't even exist. So it would load it, but nothing would happen. And so then when you'd get into those loops where, like the get class and get species, where it's, or I think it was actually add to database, where it tests this database and says if it's not equal to nil, blah, blah, it was throwing tons of errors, like the for key in pairs thing, key value in pairs. That whole loop was throwing me so many errors because this didn't exist, because this didn't exist. So this line fixes that, because it says if BDB is equal to nil, aka this didn't load anything, then just set it to a blank table so that this knows it's a table, right? So first off, you check to see if there's a B. If there is, you load the table. If not, make it a table, and then you assign class equals the get class. So as you recall, this has already analyzed everything into the T table, and then this uses the T table and gets the specific thing. And so then get species is very similar. And this assigns our two data things so that we have our two datas to work with. And so then what we're going to do here is this goes to the add database thing, the add database script like we talked about before. So essentially this is where your check is going to happen also. If you recall the thing about you know, check to see if it's in the database, if not in the database, add it to the database, so on and so forth. And then it's going to save the database to, and again, you specify the table, which in our case is BDB, and then it saves it to the BeeDabase file. And this saves a copy of it so that if something happens to where this gets closed, then we still have a copy here. And the other thing is that this script runs all the time, so if it were to break and start over, you need the BeeDabase file so that you can load it back into this and restore the current data. Otherwise, it's not going to know what data you already have because this will have lost its data. So that's why this file and the saving and loading is so important. So then it saves, right? And then after it saves it, then it goes ahead and sends it, and the send is going to send it to the computer, which is then going to display it. Now this I put in here because I was getting some issues where it was immediately trying to suck the bee out and it wasn't giving it time to do all this other stuff. So I put this at the end so that sleep 2, so it gives it 2 seconds in between each rotation, so that it gives the system time, okay, it's going to take the bee, turn around, drop it, blah, 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 come back, and then wait. So it gives the system time to load a new bee in from the analyzer to the bee analyzer in front of the turtle, right? So, okay, so that pretty much covers the turtle script. Now the next thing is going to be talking about the computer thing down there that displays the display computer is what I was looking for. So yeah, that's going to be the next part of this. So I'm going to take a quick break and allow you to see a word from our sponsors, and then we'll start on the computer part of the script down there in just a second. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. But in that time, I moved the program up to here so that I could use this screen again because it's just a lot easier to see. Okay, so the first thing we got going on is we wrap this. This is an attempt. Again, this part's not working. This is supposed to wrap the monitor. Like it's not giving me any errors. It's just not doing what it should do, which I don't understand yet. Again, temporary program table to hold the data, and then the sender ID is 85, which is the ID for this guy, I believe. Yeah, so this is for checking to make sure you've got the right computer we're talking to. Save function works the same way. It's using it to save the the BDB table to the BeeDabase file. Next is the get database command, which opens the computer I have down there. The modem's on the top. That's why it says top. So we've got open the top, local ID message. We've already gone over the RedNet receive stuff. This will hang the whole program though, which is why I was trying to use the parallel, but it doesn't seem to be working correctly. If ID is equal to sender ID up top, then temp equals text utils. So we're unserializing the string that we got from the receive command and turning it into a table. And then we save the table as the BeeDabase. Now I did temp here. This used to be BDB, but I was thinking maybe it was because it was trying to save to BDB while this was happening, and so then the print program couldn't use it because it was being held up by this, so I converted it. It still doesn't seem to have helped, so I may end up reworking that once I figure out what exactly is going on there. So then we go, what was this, load function, which pretty much works the same way. You read all close. The only difference is I had the BDB equals unserialized data part here, which I think was a little different than the other one. Maybe it was just differently spaced or whatever. The set display function is supposed to essentially it says Sparrow's BeeDabase, and then it would say species, tab, class, tab, amount. I'm going to end up reworking this formatting. This was mostly just for trial to see how it works, and then it prints that to the screen, or it was supposed to. Maybe did I not change that? Maybe that's part of the problem. This one's the monitor.write, so I might need to fix that, but it's not a huge deal. And then PR info is print info, and we've got a basic string here. Another in pairs loop. If the BDB string to key species is not equal to nil, then it sets the string to the species. Now, this is an interesting note. This is called a substring. And what this is basically doing is it specifies the string that you're wanting to sub, which is str, because we've set the species name here, because that's the index of the database, if you remember. So this is now equal to, we'll say Valiant for now. But if you'll recall, let's show you real quick. If you'll recall, see how it says the index is actually quote bees.species.valiant quote. So this is part of the index. That's part of what makes it the string. So for this you do string 1, not 0, and then number of string. Yeah, and then it adds a colon and a new line concatenated to it. So it should be removing the quotes is what this is for. The reason I say that is because, let's just do a test script real quick. Or, well, I don't want to lose my place on there, so I'll just do it here. So let's say t equals, and then we'll set the index to river, and then quote equals 5. Okay, so that's our table. Now if we do for key val in pairs t, and you don't have to space it, I do, and then do, and so we're going to do print toString key. Okay, and just for argument's sake, we'll go ahead and give it a couple more, or one more. Let's do bauxite. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. I don't care. It's a test. Live with it. Equals 3. Sure. Okay, now test. Oh, I stand corrected. You don't need to do that then. Well, okay then. So you don't need the substring. You could take this whole line out and just take this part, the dot, colon, all that stuff, and just add it to this, and you should be good to go. I did not know that. I thought you'd have to take the quotes off. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so then monitor.write toString string. I did that just in case it gets confused about what kind of variable type it is. Probably don't need that. But this is the part that hasn't been working. When I run it in parallel with the receive thing seems to work. The rednet command comes on, but it doesn't write to the monitor while that's happening, and that's what I don't understand and haven't been able to figure out. Now, this one's a little tricky. I actually did a nested in pairs loop. So what I'm doing here is, let me scroll up a little bit. So what I ended up doing here is you've got the main thing, which is the species, and then it sets the species and prints the species to the screen. Correct? Right. Good. Which I'll actually have to change. or no, that's the species name. Okay, the word species is set up already, but this is going to name the species, so that's fine. And then I do another in pairs loop here, which actually, instead of just passing this table, it's actually passing this whole table, because if you recall, within the species there's the drone, princess, and queen, but those three values are part of the species table, if that makes sense. That's why it's a double two-dimensional array or table. So we're passing the first species table here, so you're going to get the table that's on this side with the three type components, right? So each index is going to be the class type of B, and we're still using key from up here because it's inside it for this. So we're doing B species, and then class is not equal to, oh, that could be a problem. Maybe that's why it's not working right. That's not supposed to be there. I'll have to fix that. I'm not on the actual computer that's down there though, so I don't want to bother fixing it, but I'll scrub this line and fix that. So it's not done yet, but this is the kind of more of a progress report on this part of it. I can probably take this substring crap out then, because you know, you don't need it apparently. I should have noticed that, because it's 1 in Lua, I guess, is the first one, because I haven't seen many using 0 indexes. And then the two-string number of icons or whatever, it's like the beginning to end. I should have picked up on that, but I didn't. So what do I have here? So this string then equals... Okay, so we've printed this, and then a new line. So it's the species type. Now this is going to basically equal the class of B, and then we put a colon, and then I think this is the value. Let me scrub over a little bit. Click here. There we go. That should work. Yeah, so it'll basically come out that this is the class, and then colon, so it'll say drone, princess, colon, and then yeah, the actual value will be the number. Where am I going here? I don't know where my cursor is. There it is. Okay. So yeah, string, substring, yeah, because all these are two strings, so it's not the actual value, and it's using index only. So it's converting this, which again, now that I know that, you can scrub this and just put str equals two-string index, and then ... quote. You know, you don't need all this, and then it would add the value at the end, so it'll be drone 5 or whatever. And then it's supposed to write that to the monitor also. I don't know. I don't know enough about the monitor write stuff at the moment. I'm still researching some of that to see if it's actually working but behaving incorrectly, or if it's just not working correctly. And some of these end sequences are out of indentation correction because I did this in Notepad++, and so it comes out looking weird. And then we get to the main program, which basically is, while true, do load the BeeDabase, set the display, print the info, wait 30 seconds, and then clear, and it would loop back and run it again. So this is basically, it loads the information, sets all of the class, species, all that stuff, prints the info, and then it pauses while, again, every 30 seconds it's waiting for updates type of thing. It'll check to see if it updated every time. And then it runs the clear command, which I'm not sure. I may actually have to change this and set it to clear the monitors. Like, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. So this part I need to fix right here. And then the main loop is where I had function 1 equals get database, and function 2 is get program here. So this should be waiting for a message from the computer, or from this turtle, and this one should be displaying and all that stuff. And then I did a parallel wait for all, because I don't want this to ever stop. I want it to just loop, and if you'd wait for any when this one returns correctly or returns completely, which is function 1, then it would end. So I don't want to do that. So I did wait for all because function 2, which is main program, as you can see, never ends. It just keeps looping, so it would just loop indefinitely and always wait for messages. So the problem I'm having here is that I'm not getting any errors. Like, it's not saying that it's not working, it's just not behaving the way I want. That's the problem. When I run this program, the computer, like when you're looking in this window here, the computer is displaying the get DB thing like it's waiting for, and the RedNet thing comes on like it's waiting for a signal, but when you look at the monitor, it has nothing on the screen. The monitor's completely blank. So that part doesn't quite make sense to me. I don't quite understand where the problem is, because there's no error messages saying this isn't working. So it's just logic error, I guess, like the way I've got it set up is not behaving correctly. I can clean this up a little bit and get rid of the substrings now that I don't need them and so on. But you know, it's still not behaving correctly, because this isn't really going to affect how it's printing. It's just not printing. So I need to actually figure out how that works as far as where the actual problem is, and I need to tweak like the set display thing, because that's not set up exactly the way I would like. Ultimately, what I would like is for it to look something like, you know, I said it's like Sparrow's BeeDabase. You know, and yes, I know there's no such program, and then for it to say like species, you can't tab out on the command line, type, and then like amount, something like that. And then the part that I'm having a little bit of an issue on, and I might end up tweaking this a bit, is that I would like it to be like river, or something like that. I don't know if I'd have a quote there or not. And then drone, and then 5 or whatever, 30. We'll just say I've got a lot of these. You know, but then the next line, I would actually not like it to display river. I would like it to just come over here and do princess, and say there's, oops, too far, you know, 5, and then come over here and have it say queen, and we'll just say I don't have any of those, because I doubt I'll have any, you know, something like this, and then it would come down here and say bauxite, you know, and go through. I thought about doing it that way. I may... The other format I thought of is something like this, where it says bauxite, and then instead of having 3 rows for type, just having 3 sets of numbers in sequential order. So like 0, and maybe either 2 colons or a dash, slash, something like that. Maybe a slash would probably be better, because that seems, well, you could do it that way. That doesn't look bad. Oh, you know what you could do is do Q0 dash P5. Would that look good? I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. Maybe... Maybe just do it... Oh, here we go. This looks good. 5, and then D 30. So that might be how I do it, is just like that. That looks nice, actually. I might do that, because that would keep it clean, quick. Wouldn't be too hard to follow. I may do it drone, princess, queen, just because queens are most likely going to be 0. I don't have that many of them. Most of them aren't there, and drones are the ones I'm going to have the most of. So I may do drone and space like a lot, and then like I might do something like bring it in closer like this. Do D space, 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 and have like a big number like this, and then P have a few spaces, and then Q is like, 0 kind of thing. I might do it something like that so it's all uniformly spaced. So I'll have to do some math on that and figure out. The next turtle episode I may not do for a bit because I'll probably be trying to iron this script out. I'm definitely going to do something like this, though. I like this format much better, and it would be easier for me to do actually in line, as far as it wouldn't take as much space to do that kind of stuff. Now the trick, I've got to learn some more about formatting, honestly, because I haven't really tried to do a whole lot, but I'd like it to actually, after it gets to like the bottom of the page, instead of having to scroll through pages, I'd like it to, when it got to the bottom of the screen, just like go up to the top again and tab over, and start a new column kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. I'm not too familiar with, so I might have to do some research, but I like this particular format, this last row here of the species, and then just do DPQ and list like a certain number of numbers type of thing. I like that idea. So I'll probably do something like that, and then I've got to work on figuring out what's going wrong with the monitors and the parallel and all that stuff. If any of you have any ideas, if you notice something in my script that won't work right with the parallel, or that's not writing to the monitors correctly, please let me know. Save me a lot of time, because, if I don't know what I'm looking for, I tend to wander around aimlessly. So yeah, if you have an idea, run it by me. Appreciate any kind of feedback you have. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you like this, and it gives you some ideas of some cool stuff you can do with computers and turtles and all that good stuff. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this helped you out, and again, we'll finish this script up soon. Once I iron it all out and work out the bugs, I'll probably do another recap episode showing you what I fixed, and then how all it works correctly and how it flows together nicely and all that good stuff. So hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.